Hello, I'm Scott Harvey, and I will be worship associate today. And my pronouns are he, him. Welcome, everyone. This is a place for families to spend time together and build multi-generational community. Thank you to our team of volunteers and staff who make Sunday mornings possible. And I want to welcome our online participants on YouTube. So you guys might want to introduce yourselves in the chat. Please silence mobile phones or other devices that might distract us for the next hour. If you'll look in the order of service, there are lots of activities going on at the church. For instance, the Alliance, I believe, starts up again this Tuesday. And then Wednesday night, there's a biblical study group, and a lot of other things too you can find on the back of your order of service. If you're not on our email list yet, please use the QR code on your order of service to sign up. If you are online, you can sign up under the newcomers section of our website. And welcoming you isn't just my job, it's everybody's job. So please take a short moment to turn to those near you to offer a welcome back to First Unitarian. Time now for the chalice lighting. I invite people who are participating online to light a candle or chalice at home as we light our chalice here. Lana Henson will light our chalice today, as tomorrow is her birthday. We light our chalice in Midtown, Oklahoma City, on land that was home to first Americans, including the Apache, the Caddo, and Wichita, on land that was taken from the Muskogee and Seminole and other removed and relocated peoples. The words of Bran Lennox. We have chosen to bring ourselves here to this sanctuary to gather as a community of faith. We join together in solidarity as covenanted people who are drawn together by the promise of connection and the mysterious pull of the unanswerable. We draw an experience of love and wonder to lift our hearts and move us beyond the mundane. And I invite you to join me in saying our covenant, which is printed in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Kent. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a middle-aged white man with short brown hair. I'm wearing a black clergy robe today and a stole that is greenish and sort of water-looking with purple lotuses on it. Our service today is extra special. We're all going to stay together in here in the sanctuary today, regardless of what age we might be. Ingathering in the fall is a time when we come back from vacations, some of us, or we might be coming back to school. In the Northern Hemisphere, it's a time for bringing in the harvest and sharing the bounty. It's a time to welcome each other back into our spiritual home here at First Unitarian. Today, we're going to welcome in the spirits of 4 directions and the memories that we have in those special places, in those 4 directions. For this ritual, we're going to use a chant called Gathered Here. This was very popular among youth, or at least it was back when I was a youth, and I understand that some of you know it as well. If you feel more comfortable seeing it in front of you, the lyrics are in the hymnal, and the gray hymnal is number 389, and we're going to sing this through a few times to get it in our heads. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. So if you are comfortable standing, I want to invite you to stand with me for a moment for this piece of our service. And choir, you're just going to have to trust me for just a moment, but on that screen there is a compass that is oriented to our sanctuary because we're going to start facing the east, which is roughly that away. That back corner of the sanctuary. We call out to the powers of the east, the element of air, the radiance of dawn, the power of new beginnings and inspirations, be with us. To the east, we hold in our hearts our sister congregation in Tulsa, our UUA headquarters in Boston, Massachusetts, and our elected officials in Washington, D.C. We bring to mind the mighty Mississippi River and the Atlantic Ocean. And I invite you each to think of the places to the east of here where you have lived or visited, and recall the names of friends and family who live east of here, whether that is in Arkansas or the East Coast or Europe. Adults, you might help younger generations to remember those special places and people for your family. And together, let us speak their names aloud, boldly, to bring their joy, their struggle, and their wisdom to join us here. Spirit of the East, powers of air, and loved ones from the East, welcome to this community. Let us sing one more time, gathered here. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. And if you would turn with me a quarter turn to the right, to the south. The south is toward Daniel Hall, for reference. As we call on the powers of fire, passion, energy, and heat that the south represents, and we bring to mind our friends at the University of Oklahoma, we hold in our hearts the struggles at our southern border with Mexico and the Rio Grande River that overflows with hope and with strife. And let's say this together, the Gulf of Mexico. And I ask you to think of the places of the South where you have lived or visited and hold a special place in your heart. Bring to your mind the friends and family who abide south of here and call on those memories and time spent. Again, parents, you might help younger generations remember those spots and people. We lift up their names aloud. Spirit of the South, power of fire and passion, loved ones, welcome to this community. Let us sing Gathered Here. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. And turning another quarter turn to the right, to the west, we call out the powers of the West, power of water, for healing, cleansing, purification, and emotional intelligence. To the west, we envision the beautiful beaches of the Pacific Oceans, the streams of the Rocky Mountains. I bring to our minds our UU congregations all the way out in Honolulu, Hawaii, and the Philippines. I invite you also to bring to mind those special places that you have been west of here. Lift to your mind loved ones who are west of here, and let us speak their names aloud into this space. Spirit of the West, power of cleansing water, friends and family in the rugged West, welcome to this community. And again, we sing Gathered Here. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. And turning once again to the right, to the north, in that corner, we invite the powers of the north, powers of earth, the power of stone and mountain, of fertility, stability, sustenance, and strength. I'm reminded of our UU neighbors so close in Edmond and all the way up to Winnipeg, Canada. We bring to mind the Great Lakes, a truly magnificent body of water. And I invite you to think of the places north of us where you have lived or visited, and those people, family and friends that you would like to call to be with us here now. Again, we speak their names into this space here. And we sing once more, Gathered Here. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. And I want to invite you to return to facing the front of this room. so that we can turn inward for a moment to our own center. If you're comfortable, I want to invite you to close your eyes. You might hold on to the pew in front of you if that feels a little awkward. In this place of your own core and your own spirit, I invite you to lift to your mind the friends and family members who have passed away, leaving us with gracious memories of inspiration, wisdom, courage, and their love. And I invite you to call on those memories of times with them and their spirit of life. You may lift their names into this sanctuary aloud now. And together we sing our invitation to the power of all our ancestors gathered here. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Blessed be. Friends, you may be seated.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Tim Atkins, and I serve as your Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration. I'm both big and tall, wearing rainbow glasses and a blue and white striped shirt. So have you ever noticed how rivers and streams wander and twist, but they always find their way back to the ocean? Who's ever seen a river flow into a bigger river or the sea? Raise your hand. Who's ever seen that? It's pretty awe-inspiring. Well, people can be like that too. We travel, we learn, we grow, and then we come back together, bringing pieces of our journeys. About 50 years ago, a Unitarian Universalist named Lucille Longview went to a world meeting about women's rights. When she came home, she thought, wait, even my own religion sometimes uses old words and habits to make women feel small. That's not right. So she and other UUs wrote a promise called the Women and Religion Resolution to help our whole faith become more fair and equal. In 1980, Lucille Longview and another Unitarian, Carolyn McDade, invited women from all over the country to gather at the UU Women in Religion Continental Convocation held in East Lansing, Michigan. In fact, that invitation is what's on that screen right over there. And did you know that Carolyn McDade is one of our more famous UU musicians and has written a number of hymns in our hymnal? Well, they wanted worship that felt alive and real. No pews, no fancy pulpit like this one, just a big earthen bowl in the middle. They said, bring a little water from some place that matters to you, a lake, a river, even your kitchen sink. When you pour it in, tell us why it matters. And one by one, women stepped forward. They shared about oceans near their homes, streams where their kids played, and rain that made their gardens grow. Each story was like a drop of love. All the waters swirled together just like their hopes and lives were swirling together. At the end, they even let people take a little bit of the shared water home, so the memory of the connection would travel with them. That first service was called Coming Home, like rivers to the sea. From that mountaintop, the idea flowed to UU congregations everywhere, and we now call it the Water Communion. But it's not just about water. It's about belonging. It says we come from many places, but here we are one. So when we bring water today, we remember Lucille, Carolyn, and the women who struggled to make a place in our faith. And we remember that every drop matters, just like every person matters. Like rivers joining the sea, when our lives come together, we create something bigger and stronger than any one of us alone.
One of those names might have been super familiar to you. Carolyn McDade is one of our most famous hymn writers. She wrote Spirit of Life. So in honor of her and in honor of water communion, we're going to sing that hymn a couple of times, and we have the lyrics up here as well for you. If you want to rise in body or in spirit to join in singing.
Every year when we gather the waters of our lives, we embody the truth that new beginnings are always flowing toward us. In our UU tradition, the water communion reminds us that each of us brings something from our own journey, whether from faraway travels, daily routines, or the deep well springs of the Spirit. The waters mingle, becoming something larger than any single drop. It is a ritual of renewal, of starting again together. In 1819, the United States sent a team led by engineer Stephen H. Long to survey this part of the country. Although Long didn't know it, the Southern Plains were beset by a multi-year drought. While surveying the Platte and Canadian rivers, his team almost starved. Unsurprisingly, the expedition's report portrayed the Southern Plains as presenting the aspect of hopeless and irreclaimable sterility. The land, he wrote, was almost wholly unfit for cultivation and, of course, uninhabitable by a people depending upon agriculture for their subsistence. Now, that was during a drought. And I've lived here long enough to experience several droughts, and that's the reason I seldom complain when it rains. Yes, I have to mow the yard more frequently, but the plants this year are just loving the moisture. I graduated college and moved to central Oklahoma in 1980, which was a notoriously hot summer. It was so hot and dry that I questioned my decision to live here. But I persisted, and that beginning was the start of a life of relationships and commitments that have shaped me ever since. This year, the wettest that I've ever seen, at least a dozen springs bubbled up on my 1 acre. I somehow felt a part of the water cycle, and with that came a deep sense of gratitude. Water teaches us that beginnings need not be dramatic to be powerful. Sometimes a new beginning is as gentle as a spring hidden in the earth, and sometimes it rushes in like a flood, washing away the old and forcing us to begin again. To embrace new beginnings is to trust that life, like water, flows onward. Even in seasons of drought, renewal waits beneath the surface. And when the rains return, they remind us that hope, resilience, and gratitude are always possible. Latitude Legal Alliance is designated as the Change for Change recipient in the month of September. Tara Jordan de Laura is here from the organization to tell us a little bit more about the wonderful work that they are doing here in Oklahoma City. As we enjoy the offertory music, oh, we're not there yet. Yeah.
You tell me when to come up, right? Good morning, church. Thank you for having me. My name's Tara. I reside in Norman, Oklahoma. Should I describe myself? I liked that. I'm a beautiful young lady with flowing brown blonde hair, wearing a shirt that says, "I wish for you what you wish for immigrants." And that is the vibe. I hope you're all with it. So thank you to my friend Sandra, who generously invited me here this morning. And thank you to the church as a whole for being a place where I feel welcome to come wearing such a shirt, because not every place would be. So thank you for that. When Sandra asked me to come do U for U, C for U, C for C, I said, whoa, slow down. I don't know what half of that means. But thank you again for allowing us to come here. Latitude Legal Alliance is the only independent nonprofit in Oklahoma that is offering pro bono, completely free immigration legal services for immigrants throughout our state. We were founded in late 2023. We started seeing our first clients in February of 2024, right before my daughter was born. And so I know how old our organization is based on how old my daughter is. That works. It was founded because we saw a huge gap in services, because a lot of immigrants locally are open to exploitation by groups or people who are taking advantage of their desire for a path to legal status here in our country. And we wanted to step in and offer a low barrier way for people to get access to reliable, high quality information. So that's our mission. I can tell you that I came to Latitude. I'm the founder of Latitude and the executive director right now, but the path towards Latitude came from pregnant with another child 5 years ago, and I was sitting in the back of a detention facility, and I was the only attorney there, and there were 40 people, at least 40 men, in that detention facility waiting to be heard by an immigration judge about the fate of what might happen to them and where they could go. And I was pregnant with a Mexican-American child. My husband's originally from Mexico, who could have been, but for the grace of God, could have been any of those men in front of me. My husband could have been, my brother could have been, my father could have been any of those men. We don't choose where we're born. Sometimes we get to choose where we live, and so I would encourage all of us to reach out to our neighbors who have chosen to call Oklahoma home and who are building homes in our community. reach out to them and check on them. It is a really difficult time for those folks. It is a difficult time to be in nonprofit immigration legal services right now. We had basically all of our grants cut. Any of them that had anything to do with state or federal government have all gone away, which means that we're no longer able to serve minors in the same way that we were before. We're the only contractor in the state to represent unaccompanied minors in legal proceedings in immigration, and those grants have gone away. Of course, we're still serving those people, but funding it has become very difficult, so we really appreciate this opportunity. Again, I hope that you all will reach out to your community members, the people who you work alongside, the people whose kids are on your kids' soccer team. These are, as you all know, these are wonderful, dynamic, talented, beautiful folks who are choosing to call our community home, and I hope that you'll find ways to embrace them when the system is not. So thank you for this, and I will just leave with a quote by Daniel Tiger. If you don't know who Daniel Tiger is, you have not had a kid in the last decade, which is fine, but Daniel Tiger says we take care of each other. So thank you.
As we enjoy the offertory music, our ushers will pass the offering plate in the sanctuary. Online, you can make a gift through the 1UC website or send a check to First Unitarian. Just write "Change for Change" on the memo line.
I have a story to share with you all, which is actually the inspiration for this service. It's called "Where the River Begins." And because the pictures are so beautiful, we have them up on a slideshow. Thank you, Jacob, for helping to make that happen and being an indispensable bass in our choir. So, this is called "Where the River Begins." Here. Once there were two boys named Josh and Aaron who lived with their family in a big yellow house. Nearby was a river that flowed gently into the sea. On summer evenings, the boys liked to sit on their porch and watch the river and make up stories about it, where they wondered, did the river begin? Their grandfather loved the river and had lived near it all his life. Perhaps he would know. So one day, Josh and Aaron asked their grandfather to take them on a camping trip to find the beginning of the river. When he agreed, they made plans and began to pack. They started out early the next morning. For a time, they walked along a familiar road past fields of golden wheat and sheep grazing in the sun. Nearby flowed the river, gentle, wide, and deep. At last, they reached the foothills of the mountain. The road had ended, and now the river would be their only guide. It raced over rocks and boulders and had become so narrow that the boys and their grandfather could jump across. In the late afternoon, while the sun was still hot, the river led them into a dark forest. They found a campsite and set up their tent. Then the boys went wading in the cold water. The first long day away from home was over. That night, around the flickering campfire, their grandfather told Josh and Aaron stories. Drifting off to sleep, they listened to the forest noises and were soothed by the sound of the river. Dawn seemed to come quickly, and the sun glowed through thick mist. The boys were eager to be off, but their grandfather was stiff from sleeping on the ground and was slower getting started. I can imagine. The path they chose led them high above the river. On a grassy knoll, they stopped to gaze around. The morning mist had risen and formed white clouds in the sky. In the distance, the river meandered lazily. It was so narrow that it seemed almost to disappear. They all felt great excitement, for they knew that they were nearing the end of their journey. Without a word, the boys began to run. They followed the river for an hour or more until it trickled into a still pond, high in an upland meadow. In this small, peaceful place, the river began. Finally, their search was over. As they started back, the sky suddenly darkened. Thunder crashed all around them and lightning lit up the skies. They pitched up their tent and crawled inside just before the storm broke. Rain poured on the roof of their small tent all night long, but they were warm and dry inside. In the morning, long before dawn, they were awakened by the roaring, rushing sound. The river had swelled with the storm and was flooding its banks. They tried to take a shortcut across a field, but were soon ankle deep in the water. Grandfather explained that the river drew its waters from the rains high up in the mountains. They came down out of the foothills to the soft light of late afternoon. The boys recognized the cliffs along the river and knew that they were close to home. Their weariness lifted, and they began to move more quickly down the road. last, they reached their house on the hill. The boys raced ahead to tell their mother and father about the place where the river began. But their grandfather paused for a moment, and in the fading light, he watched the river, which continued on as it always had, flowing gently into the sea. The end. The power of water takes on a lot of different forms. It can be a persistent stream, it can be angry thunderstorms, it can be like waves sloshing back and forth. For this little minute of meditation, I invite you to see what type of water does your heart and mind feel like right now? Are you undecided, sloshing back and forth like a wave? Or perhaps determined like a stream down a steep hill? Maybe you're a warm, gentle bath. What does your heart and mind feel like right now? And for a moment, see if you can imagine that becoming a little calmer. Those waves calming down a little bit, or that stream finding a pool where it rests and finds stillness a little bit. Or that river opening up into the ocean. For this moment, we bring stillness and clarity. Namaste, friends. Amen, and blessed be. Thank you all for participating in an unusual and long call to worship, calling all of those directions and memories and loved ones to be with us here. We do that as a remembrance that we each draw from a huge wealth of experience, and we bring all of that with us. Usually when we celebrate water communion, we focus on the commonality of water, the oneness of it. Today, I also want us to keep in mind that there are also so many forms of water, and part of that is because of its background. Moving back here to Oklahoma, I have so enjoyed the thunderstorms of the past few weeks. We don't get those in California the same way. Maybe the summer comes as a nice, soothing, cooling down in the hot, parched summer days. We don't often think about it around here, but glaciers are a huge piece of water that have carved up our Earth for thousands and thousands of years. Big chunks of ice, bigger than buildings, that slip across the Earth and move mountains. And then there's the water that we need to survive. There's the water that forms our political boundaries that people fight over. Today, as the symbols of water bring us together, we also remember that water is so very different, depending on where it comes from and what it has been through, just like us. How many of you think that describing Unitarian Universalism and what we believe is easy? No, not a single brave hand. No, yeah. I sometimes talk about William Ellery Channing and the first American Unitarians and what they believed. Basically that people are good, or at least that they could be good if they learned and tried. And the fact that the Bible is really old, and we have to remember that it's really old when we try to make sense of it. They also believe that Jesus was a great teacher, maybe the best teacher, but he wasn't God. That was the Unitarians. Universalists, well, they believe that God was all about love and forgiveness. Even if we can't forgive each other sometimes, God was so big and so loving that that forgiveness was there all the time, everywhere. And then came some people that were all about nature and seeing this great, big, beautiful world as the most important thing, thinking that we can learn the right things to do by looking at the natural world around us. And then there were humanists, people who believe that we should focus mostly on being good people to one another, and that being good humans was really the most important. If all that sounds confusing to you, that's okay. The history of our beliefs is about as diverse as the different ways water shapes our world. We have a big, big mix of beliefs in our background. And yet here we are, building one community. If our church is confusing, if Unitarian Universalism is confusing sometimes, that means you are paying attention. Our church isn't a place to be with people who think just like you. This is a place to be with people who are curious to learn from each other and where they have been. Don't come here to be with people who share your particular beliefs. Come here to be with people who have the courage to share what they know, to open their heart, to change the world, and to be changed in the process. Amen. We have one more hymn today. It's There's a River Flowin' in My Soul. It's number 1007 in your green hymnals. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit to join in singing.
You may be seated. Now is the time for our water communion. You may have noticed that there are vases in the four corners of the sanctuary, two in the back, like two up here. I feel like a flight attendant. I invite you to go to the vase that is closest to you. Dividing the sanctuary roughly in quarters, we can figure that out. Please pour some of the water that you brought into the vase, or pour a little bit of water from the pitcher provided. And as you do so, bring to mind all of the places and those people that you carry with you. Bring the wisdom of your experience and pour it out for this community. We will enjoy some music as we collect the water.
The water collected today reminds us that our lives intermingle, that in all our adventures we bring something with us, something to share in community. Go ahead. Today we create a deep spiritual well of community. May each of us feel welcome to give and take inspiration from that well as we feel we need it. May this water nurture our spirits and inspire us to heal the world beyond our walls. So may it be.
A portion of this water will be used to bless our memorial garden and playground outside. And some of it will be saved for next year's ritual or to use for rituals throughout the year. Because this is how we build community, bringing all of who we are year after year.
As we extinguish the flame of our chalice, may its lingering spark be carried in your heart until we are together again.
It starts perhaps with a drop, and then a trickle, a burble, a rush of water bubbling toward its destination, and finally the wide, endless sea. All rivers run to the sea. Today you came and shared in this sacred community. May you depart this sacred community, hearts filled with hope for new beginnings, for a fresh start. Go forth, but return to this community where rivers of tears may be shed sometimes, where dry souls may be watered, where joy bubbles up, where life cups overflow, where deep in your spirit you have found a place that together we make home. Friends, go in peace.